recording. So what do you see in front of you? Let's start with this image. Have you seen it before in one of our presentations?
I haven't, but it looks like the bottom of the tree.
Yeah.
Or just, you know, how, I don't know if this is how you see how old the trees are. I don't know, like if you just
so the life rings of a tree, the core of a tree. It's a cross section of a trunk. So in the first year, there'll be a core layer that grows out as the tree is a seedling moving into a sapling, and then it starts then forming its rings. Then on the rainy season, what do you notice? This is a rainy season versus a dry season. What do you notice the difference?
Bigger sections, more growth.
Yeah, more growth in which the rainy season. Yeah. What do you notice about the dry season?
Yeah.
Less growth.
Less growth, like it's thinner.
Less growth. Less expansion from this perspective, but more density. So there is a higher density. So the trees that are experience drought and survive tend to live longer and they're more resilient.
Yeah.
And in our life, it's quite similar, right? We have strains in our life that strengthen us. So if we go to train a muscle, when the muscle is weakest, it grows most. When the muscle is well developed and you train it, there's less impact. So the strain is really an important part about our growth. And I'm sure you guys have come across it before. Most people live life trying to run away from strain. So, but embracing it and understanding that it's actually essential as part of our character growth. So like the tree, you might not physically grow so much with strain, but the depth of your character and the strength of your grain deepens with strain. This is a forest fire scar. How do you think that might relate to us in life?
I guess times of adversity or difficulties.
Yeah. How about you, Naz? What do you think a forest fire scar might relate to it and the analogy of life?
I mean, I was gonna say difficulties, the experiences and the layers of I guess.
So a very adverse event, something really extreme, beyond a drought. In this case, it could burn the tree to its core. This tree survived. But in our life, we also get those experiences. So what Jamie works a lot in is on the RISE program, is about those types of experiences where people have had them. I personally believe, again, they're there for good reason, to strengthen our character, to help shine our gifts, whatever they might be, those really adverse things that make us completely unique. But sometimes people can get caught in the emotional cycle of the experience. So the RISE program is about, cultivating the gifts out of that and leaving behind the emotions. And they're there for good reason, in my opinion. So if all the people that have achieved great things that I've been able to coach and go deep with, there's always a story of adversity lying behind those successes.
You said RISE program? Like, what was the program that you mentioned?
RISE is the program that Jamie runs as part of ShareTree. So it's about reflection, introspection, severing and detachment from the experience itself, but cultivating the character strengths, and then bringing them forward to evolve and bring your gifts to the world.
Okay.
So if you look at a fingerprint versus a tree trunk, there's actually a lot of similarities between them. So
that's true.
You can almost not tell which is which, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So ShareTree, there's a lot of analogies with nature. And we do that with good reason, because nature has billions of years of evolution advanced on humanity. And if we want to learn great things, all we need to do is look at nature and the universe. The sequences and the evolutions have been happening for a long time before humans even existed. So what are we about at ShareTree? Well, we are a movement to evolve character, culture, and community so that people can live with greater purpose and gratitude. And you'll find along the way in these workshops that we run why purpose and gratitude. There's distinct reasons behind those two in particular. All character traits are powerful. Those two in particular are very, very significant to culture and human evolution. So we run on a 5 Ps principle, purpose. So purpose being at the center of what we do. People, so we attract people that are aligned with that purpose, and that's why there's a great synergy between Blink Minds and ShareTree, and we connected straight away because of all of this really aligned thinking. Performance, which is my background out of Lean Six Sigma, but it's essential. I've seen that. We've consulted over 680 businesses now, and performance is really key to creating culture. Because unless you're getting results, it's very hard to sustain. And then you're creating consistent strain, which then can be challenging for people. Profit, whether you're a not-for-profit organization or not, us included, we run for a profit, but it just doesn't go into the pockets of private shareholders. It goes back to the community. That's the difference between a charity and a for-profit. And lastly, our beautiful planet. We need to preserve it. It's deteriorating. It's important that we correct the balance in the way that we are connected with our planet. So they are the principles that we run on and that we like to look for in our partners. So we are, as I mentioned before, charity as a service. What does that mean? It means that, like Robin Hood, but we don't steal from the rich. We provide value-adding services that help increase the well-being and profits of organizations that we work with based on improving culture and performance and interconnectedness between people. Now, with those profits that come in, we do a few different things to cultivate those profits: engagement, training, workshops. All of these are things that we can partner with you guys to deliver with you, for you, or support you in doing yourself. We provide technology, which you're going to learn about, the ShareTree app. That's a free technology. The way we make our money is on the reporting that helps organizations have clarity about culture so they can strategize for growth. And the last part is consulting. So our profits go into character education for schools and community organization volunteering programs. So that's where we redirect the profits. So we want to attract higher performance talent. Our objective is to pay people 10% more than the market rate to be able to use 10% more of our funds that come in into R&D. And the last 10% is to feed into all of these other community benefit programs. So because we're a charity, we don't pay 30% tax. It comes back into us. It helps us be a higher performance organization for community benefit. So that's who you're supporting and partnering with when you work with ShareTree. So a little bit about me and my background. You probably know enough about it already, so I'll be very quick on it. But I'm visual dyslexic, mild visual dyslexic. So I see a world in patterns. Reading is very heavy for me. I can't keep up with subtitles on a movie, for instance. The way my brain works, I need to take those words, create an understanding, form a picture, make a movie out of it, record the movie in my head. So that is a downside, but the upside is I've got so many pictures in my head that I remember a lot of things, not everything, but I remember a lot of things. And I see patterns unlike other people see patterns most of the time, which is why I've been very successful in continuous improvement. I used to go into organizations for a number of years. Bosch picked up that talent. My mentor actually spotted it and they used it as a strength. So they sent me all around the world to see the best practice sites, optimize them. And I saved Bosch maybe about $80 million in the 16 years I was there. And then my mentor said, you know what, Stephen, you must leave Bosch. I was like, what? He goes, your talent is needed elsewhere in the world. He said, you must leave Bosch. I was like, what do you mean? I was like, I'm fine. I'll stay at Bosch. He goes, no, you go out into the world. So he really encouraged me to leave, which I've never, ever had a mentor do such a thing in a work environment ever.
But that's a
And
good mentor, right?
oh, he's amazing. I'm still connected to him till today. So he went on to be the head of Bosch Packaging Global, 24,000 people that he was leading. And we still have a friendship till today. He visits Australia. We go out for lunch or whatever it might be. So that really set me on a direction 16 years ago now, where I started Vative and a marketing company at the same time. And then during that journey, I just learned a whole lot about business, which is really a useful skill to have. It's a vessel for growth in itself.
Yeah.
So, 7 years ago, when I first started business, I made a promise to the universe to give the first $1 million I made to charitable, meaningful impact. And when we reached that milestone, I brought my continuous improvement team in for a 2-day workshop to understand, what was the root cause of disparity in income, education, opportunity, and harming the planet. And we workshopped that for 2 days, and we found really 3 key things: that there was no checks and balances in the financial system, corporates were the main offenders, and leadership mindsets and cultures of team were the key aspects to creating that change. And the last one is in the education system, the focus was not balanced enough between academia and values we said at the time, but it turned out to be character and the human spirit. Not specifically spirituality, but the human spirit, which is what the grain of our character is. So a little bit about me. My background is Catholic, but I would call myself more allism these days. I'm not against any religion, but I'm not for any one of them. They all tell the same story with a different storyteller. So, and what unites them all is these 7 layers of evolution. So that's me. So for this workshop, the next 3 days, we might be able to get through it in 2 days, but it'll be up to yourselves. What is it that you're hoping to get out of the workshop? What brought you here? Naz and Michelle, what brought you back?
Just a passion for me, it's a passion to really continue to connect with my team through culture improvement and really continue to explore the boundaries of what that actually means. There's always new things coming out that we can learn, and I think sometimes these workshops are really invigorating, aren't they, to get our thoughts going and get us to think about new opportunities. And I'm really passionate about the ShareTree app and the cards. There's just so much value in looking at strengths, and I use those cards with my students to highlight their strengths, and I do activities with them, and I haven't done it online, it's a bit harder, but I lay the cards out and get them to pick 2 cards that are their strengths and 1 card that's their area of improvement. And I was lucky enough to work with some kids through White Line who had come from really difficult backgrounds. And that activity with those kids, you wouldn't believe what that brought out in those kids. I had one kid we lost to suicide, and another one of my students jumped off a bridge over a train track, and he survived. And I've been guiding and mentoring him for a while now. And the way those kids took to that activity and what they shared and the raw emotion we got out of that just gives you such hope, doesn't it, that you can have this impact by getting kids to be aware. I just...
And it's simple too. That's the other amazing thing.
I know, right?
It's really simple.
But it's people investing their time in these young people.
Yeah, and making real connections. How about yourself, Naz? What are you hoping to achieve out of the workshop?
Well, can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. So I believe that the strengths are the core of people's happiness, and that just aligns with my purpose to help people to fulfill their dreams. And just I really would like to have an impact on people's life, by spreading the power of purpose and gratitude, and just by really just showing them how to look at the layers of their personality and characteristic, because most of the time they just miss that part, and they just, like really go for the name of the company, which I did it myself. I was like, okay, well, that sounds like a good company, so let me just work for it.
Yeah.
And then you just, you don't really waste your years, but you just really not put your energy where you really can put, and just really bring a lot of good work to the planet. And I want to just really have them align their thoughts and passion and strength into the right direction. And I want to be the one that actually helps individuals, and maybe in the future, for companies as well, because most of them are really are working on months and months about getting the culture in place, especially from HR perspective. And I want to just help them and educate them.
Yeah, beautiful. There's a good theme between the two of you, which is aligned to me. So, but there's no surprise, that always happens. So boundaries, how do we get the most out of this workshop? So for me, the best learning comes when we are respectful of each other, but at the same time, honest. Yeah, there's a truth and a depth that comes into the conversation, and that we are free to express. We don't need to agree on everything, but this is about exploring. And I'm a big believer that divergent thinking, when done respectfully, is the best vessel for growth. So that's the type of environment I'd like to inspire and encourage. What boundaries can we set to ensure that happens? That we are exploring, and at the same time respectful to the journey that we need to get through as well. I
think listening each other, like listening and not interrupting.
Yeah.
Not hearing, listening. How they say that is different.
Yeah. I would say people to bring their truth.
Yes.
And respect. There were the two that I mentioned.
Respect. Yes, definitely.
Michelle?
Yeah, look, I think just if someone's talking and you can tell that it's meaningful, let them say what they need to say. And, I guess always be mindful about, moving on and making sure everyone's getting a voice.
So fairness. Any others that you guys think we need to embrace? How about a sense of wonder, to dream a little?
Yeah, that's an important one, I think, isn't it? And I think I agree with what you said before, that often these opportunities, in particular with a small group, you can really expand and sometimes come up with some ideas that you hadn't even considered. And that's exciting.
It's very exciting to be able to do this without having to manage, 10, 12, which is the normal numbers that sort of come through this. Yeah, this is really good, really good. All right, this is from the other group that I'm working with this month. So in your books, the resource link, did you both get the resource link that was in the meeting notice?
I didn't open it, but I think I've got the old book. Is it the same book?
No, we've evolved a fair bit since then.
All right.
So if you go into the meeting notice, Michelle, there is this hyperlink there that will open up this directory specifically. I'll just show you it.
Yeah.
This is what's in that directory. So you've got in here the recording sessions from one of the original full program recordings.
Oh, fabulous.
And you've got all the session notes that I'm going through. So the PowerPoint that I'm going through, that's all the 3 sessions there. So you can look ahead as well if you want, but you also can look back on the notes. This link is there always. So keep this in your safe place. See this folder resource link. Keep that on the desktop. Then you can always get back into the resource. Every time we do updates, it all goes into this folder.
Oh, fabulous.
So you'll have the most up-to-date version. So in there, you've also got the full cycle of the character development program. My computer did an update this morning, so sometimes you don't know what's going to happen. So this is the full cycle of deploying a culture shift program or a culture engagement program. So this is where we'll get to after this workshop to do a deployment. Now, your programs can be unique in their own way. but that is the general journey that you go through to bring about engagement, secure, supported, accomplished, valued, trusted, evolving, and purposeful, and to try put the wedge in the wheel so that you don't get regression towards stress, division, directionless, undervalued, distrust, monotony, meaninglessness. So that's the opposite. So the cycle of character that we use globally from month to month goes through the 12 groups. It was ironic that, you know, we did that research and we found that there was 12 groups on the 7 layers, and you'll understand why. But it worked out really well because there's 12 months in a year. So and we've picked the cycle to start January by setting purpose and direction. And then from there to be mindful of where we're going, build a self-discipline, respect, and then you follow that cycle around. So
it's amazing.
In a spiritual context, they call that the Kundalini. Depends. There's so many references to different ones, but that's one of the most common ones. In terms of culture, it's just the logical layers of growth to culture. So you're really just building on all those layers year after year. So that's there. Go ahead.
When you work with the organizations, you start with this cycle.
This is the cycle that we go through with organizations, and over time we let them discover the whole cycle that they're going through. So the leadership in particular become very aware of this, and then we try and help them to theme something into their monthly meetings each month around each of the character groups, so that they're creating holistic culture, not just what they aspire to, but they're people around it. And that's where you get resilience in culture and people.
Okay.
So that's there. So you know where the journey is. This highlights the program. So you know what the components are to the program. This is the handbook. So you want to get a copy of this, Michelle. This is what I'll be referencing in the notes. The culture practitioner activities. So these are the workbook activities that we're going to work on in the workshop. So this is designed in a Word document, so you can put your notes in each activity directly in the document. Yeah, you can write straight into it.
Awesome.
You can save it for yourself. You can make a copy of it, and you can use those activity pages for your own workshops. Everything's designed to empower people to pick this up and use it for themselves. All we ask is that you acknowledge somewhere our brand as being your partner.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that actually, because I'm more than happy to acknowledge you. I'll acknowledge the heck out of you.
Yeah, I know. Thank you.
But I just think that it's so useful. I'm just sitting here thinking, Steve, I'm on the RE Council now, and I bet every single other councillor they're all in quite high level HR roles, would love an introduction to you and maybe get you on to talk to the council.
Fantastic. Yeah, well, let's do that together. That might be your project after this gig.
And I've been given the emerging professionals portfolio to look after.
You're really getting some stuff under your belt, Michelle.
It's good.
It's very good. It's very good. It couldn't fall into the hands of a more caring person.
Oh, thank you.
So in this folder, you'll find also the culture DNA placemat, which we'll use later on. So just helping you navigate where everything is. There is a return on investment calculator here. So one of the biggest barriers to rolling this out in the corporate space, which is our key focus area, is people don't value culture because it's intangible. Well, it used to be intangible until we came along. So what this does based on research, so for your area, Naz, you can pick this up. I'd love to work with you to get the local data for the USA. So one of them is average wage, for instance. We use living in Australia, but would need to normalize that. So it's a few small tweaks. It might take us half an hour. Then this would run again for the USA market. So you can put in the number of team members. You can look at their current team culture engagement survey, which you're going to learn how to deploy and use that measurement in there. What the adoption level of leadership is, and then it will show you what the shift in culture would be, its impact in staff retention. So that's one of the big costs, staff retention. And then the next big cost is normally productivity, efficiency. We call it quality of profit. So revenue, we're saying, is steady because we don't know the market forces. COVID-19, for instance, no one can control that type of scenario. So revenue will drop. But for the revenue you have in your team, there is a quality of profit that you can convert. And that's what culture impacts. So the typical engagement of a team leadership is around this. They normally start at about this. So we see average team culture engagement at about 65%, and we find leadership that we choose to engage with at about 85% adoption. So leadership is the key. If we don't see a leadership adoption for culture, we don't touch the client, because we know we've done it too many times. We know it's guaranteed to fail if they don't adopt, and it's guaranteed to succeed if they do adopt. It's all about leadership mindset, and I'll share with you why.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So it's $500,000 is a simple number on 100 people. That's the impact we have. $500,000 every year on 100 people.
Okay, so you can actually quantify. You can just make it like tangible for people that actually they don't really see it for any culture trainings.
But we walked in, because it's being recorded, I can't tell you who the client is, but we walked in with a big multinational to their Australian head office, and we put all the numbers in for them. And we said, okay, here is your team culture engagement survey, because we had their actual result. We put all the figures in, and we said, this is about how many staff you're losing every year. And this is roughly what it's costing you. And this is on the conservative side. I said, don't trust me, go and check your figures. So they went and got their figures. They would come back to us and like, oh my God, that is incredibly accurate. And you're right, it's conservative. And I said, this is the hidden cost that's going out your door every year due to lost productivity, efficiency, and quality. So if you raise your culture here, you're going to see this effect here. So
effect there. Okay. And we will learn, right? We will learn how to deploy, or just the
that's
whole
what we're
thing.
going to be doing in this workshop. So here you've got also then the brochure, the pricing, and all the sample survey tools. Yeah, so you can pick this up and share them with your clients. So this is your folder for everything you need.
You know, I guess the other side of that is that, you know, having people who are in the role, who have been there too long, who are negative, have a huge impact as well, don't they? The ones that don't go.
It can be the case. So we see either they pick up and start engaging more, or you get clearer on your culture and purpose, and those people naturally move on.
Yeah.
And that's not a bad thing. We see that happen often. Yeah,
I agree. Sometimes you need a shake up, right?
Yeah, the culture gets clear, and then those people realize that this is not for me, and they move on.
Yeah.
And then that makes space to attract more passion.
That's right. That's right.
So I'll be going through these slides, which are in that reference set. There are references to what the Culture Practitioner Handbook, CP means Culture Practitioner, and the culture tools online. You'll see this icon. If you see this icon, it's the activity book. There'll be page numbers referenced for each book. And then lastly, if you see this icon, it means the ShareTree app. So we're going to work through these 3 documents as your working documents. Cool?
Yeah.
By the way, Stephen, I just saw the recordings, you know, like that you mentioned, you know, obviously I didn't click on that link. So, I mean, I just saw those, so we don't have to record if we, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. So now you've got your own private recording.
Yeah, I have my, yeah. So, I mean, we don't have to now. I see, you know, like where to find it.
That's fine. There's little effort involved in doing that, but it helps capture a new recording there, because there's been changes along the way anyway. So this becomes a new version. Okay. All right. So in the Culture Practitioner journey, we're here now. So there's an intro workshop that you've attended. Both of you, I think, have already attended that, right? The intro workshop.
I've done an overview. Yeah.
Yeah. If you haven't, come and join one. All of that content's there again for you guys to deliver out to your own audience in conjunction with us or on your own. So that's there available to run your own culture inspiration workshops. We're here, 3-4 hour core distance learning workshops. We're going to be going through the 7 layers of culture, the character cards, the app, the monthly reporting, and Karametrics reporting. So they're the key things
Stephen,
we're going to cover.
Maybe I missed it. For intro workshop, was it something that I have missed, or is it on that file?
No, so we run introduction workshops online. You might not have attended one. So yeah, just keep an eye out for our events, and when we run the next one, we'll let you know. So when we do our catch-up session, you've got a 1 hour catch-up as part of this program. We can go through and I'll show you that content there, and we'll schedule a workshop together, and we'll run one out of America.
Okay.
Online assessment. So at the end of this, there's an online assessment. So that is the knowledge gateway for us. That's there to certify your understanding of what we're going through. So as soon as you complete that, you're certified then to deploy and unpack all of those tools. So it doesn't mean you're on your own. Again, we're there to support you as much as you need. Just let us know. We do pre-unpacks until you get comfortable. We can co-facilitate unpacks, whatever you need. Some of our practitioners want us to do the unpacks for them on an ongoing basis. That's fine too. That's for us half of the assessment. So knowing also where there are opportunities for growth. We look at your results here, and then we know in the coaching session which areas to go in a bit deeper, specific to you. The third aspect is your practical skills. This is the most important one. So this is where once you finish the practical component, the criteria is we measure a team culture engagement survey before, and then we measure it after, and we validate a shift, and then we publicize you on our website as a validated practitioner. It means you've done a culture shift, measured, and now you're certified by us to go out and do that for other organizations. So that's the deeper certification. Cool. So there's 3 sessions will be foundations, which is what we're doing today. Then there's ShareTree Analytics and Reporting, session 2, and then Deployment Strategy and Services, session 3. So the whole function of Culture Practitioner program today is about team culture engagement program, using the ShareTree app, the 7 layers of evolution and character, selecting organizational values, and starting a 30-day character growth exercise. Session 2 will go into more detail. This is where you'll start learning how to unpack the reports. Now, we might go faster today. Like I said, earlier, if we want to go faster, we can go faster, and we can get, I would say, probably halfway through this as well, but we'll see how we go. The last session is really parametrics for individual character strengths, coaching, and how that fits in a culture. And then about how do you deploy it? How does the program pricing work? How do you buy from us? We've made it very simple. So we'll share that with you in session 3. So what is character? What is character? What is culture? Sorry, I'm going to move you guys a little bit to the right because I was guessing the heading.
Well, that's a good question too.
Yeah, that's the next part. So what is culture? What is it to you guys? What's the definition?
I guess for me, it's the feel within the organization, the what is it that makes us who we are? And then it goes deeper than that, I guess. That's a basic thought of mine of what it is.
Yeah. So
how we do things here.
From the individual and how it connects to the group. Yeah.
Yeah.
What about yourself, Naz? What is a culture?
Yeah. I mean, culture is just, to me, is the family core, the inner core of the organization, where it really connects you to your passion and everyday work, to your performance. It's just the heart of the organization.
Yeah.
I feel like not the head of the organization. Sometimes we start from the head of the organization, but we miss the heart. So
I love that.
Yeah, I like that too.
I love that. That's right. The head is the function, and the heart is the rhythm. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's kind of realize what you just said, because when we start with the head of the organization, we always go to leadership and ask them what they really think, and we miss that they're just not really know what their heart is saying, or just know what they feel about the organization. So and then they, and then we fail. So if we start with the heart and culture, and then go back to them with the numbers or just guidance from an HR perspective, then we might be more effective.
Beautiful. Here's what we describe as a culture. So the collective character in action of a group of people influenced by leadership. So the top part is a fairly common description. It doesn't use the word character, but we know it's ingrained in character because there's an individual culture to me, which is my character. And it's the collective of us. So right now, the three of us are forming a culture. And I can feel it's a lot more heart-centric than some of the other groups that I've worked with. So there's different cultures created by the people that are attracted in a group. But it is heavily influenced by leadership, particularly in a team culture. And there's big teams. Countries have leaders that influence culture. Have a look at what's happening in your own country right now, Naz. Like that's influenced by leadership. Whether it's good or bad, there'll be varied opinions on that, but it's definitely influenced the culture of the country.
Definitely.
So character is the mental and moral qualities distinctive to an individual. So one could argue it includes spiritual aspects as well. I would definitely put my hand up to say that, but that gets outside of the realm of science then. So this is the scientific definition: the mental and the moral qualities distinctive to an individual. So one of the sayings I have is that character is built from within and revealed when we must go without.
Isn't that timely? Given what's going on here in our state in Victoria. You know, we're in lockdown and it's tough, and there's some really bad behaviors coming out of certain people. Given that we're going without, and it's not that bad.
It just brings to the surface. There's another saying I say is that money and power amplifies what's within. So it just really shows your character at the end of the day. So, and people say, oh, money's evil and power is evil. No, it's not. It's evil if it's in the hands of one that is evil.
Exactly. That is so true. You know, like where I live so far. That's exactly true.
So in terms of the culture evolution roadmap, there's many ways culture can be shifted, enhanced, and sustained. Though this is what we find to be the most efficient journey in that process. So some people do come in from here and then skip to here and go down to here and update that and then do the journey again. Some come in with the app and then look at their vision and then go up. Like, it doesn't really matter, but there is an efficiency in following it this way. And that comes from my continuous improvement experience and background. So understanding, first of all, where you are and where you're going, which is purpose and vision. And the good thing about being clear on purpose is it comes back to what you're saying before, Michelle, is it starts to attract the right people in when you're clear on purpose in life. The vision is where you're going. Now, if people know, if we're going on a holiday and you don't want to go to that destination, well, then you know to get off the bus, right? So being clear is really important. So we try and encourage and lead organizations to do that first, then to set the culture DNA values. Now, to set meaningful culture DNA values, you must have clarity of purpose and vision ideally, but purpose is essential. Because if you don't know why you do what you do, then who can you think about who you need to be?
Yeah, I absolutely agree.
And then the last part that we do is understanding where they are in their evolution themselves as an organizational group, because groups evolve too, and doing a team culture engagement survey to understand which areas do we need to tweak as part of the strategy to shift the culture forward. Once we have that, then we go into stage 2, which is to build a culture of gratitude. The ShareTree app is a holistic approach to culture because it creates connections through purpose, gratitude, and character. So it hits every layer, and you'll see as we go along why. Whether you want interactive displays or not is up to the organization, but we put them in to really make it obvious to people that there is a culture alive here. Now, they have it on their phone apps anyway, but there's something about having these things in a foyer or the lunchroom or, you know, in the HR office. Sometimes some clients have done it that way as well. Growing mindsets and cultures of gratitude. So really cultivating that habit. And the way that we do that is that we get the ShareTree group to all participate in a 30-day character growth exercise. So from our experience, it's shown that 90 days is what it takes on average to form the new habit, not 20, as the myth tells you. 90 days. So it's 3 character growth exercises, and we start on gratitude, and we'll share why. Then once the data starts coming in about the living culture, because now you're acknowledging people based on real interactions, based on observed character strengths in action. Now you can see what the living culture of the organization is based on the first view of the character strengths in action of your people. Then we pick up that reporting, we look back at the strategy here, and then that gives the team insight, the leadership in particular, on how to lead the culture to shift it where it wants to be. Then there's enhancer options. So the team all implement culture improvement projects based on where they identify opportunities for growth themselves. So they do a project per team. It can include some of these common ones: volunteering, impact storytelling, mentorship is another really common one that's coming up. And then they present their projects back to the group at the end of the culture program. And then we try and create sustainable methods for this to be ongoing. So recruit for culture fit, and then rewards and recognitions in a way that they learn now is more meaningful. And you'll understand what I mean by that soon. Yeah, there's 5 ways people can be valued. Gifts and rewards is the most common used method. It's the least desired.
And Stephen, I have a quick question. For number 3, when after you go through the team culture survey and identify some data and using the app, and then 30-day character growth exercise, like for 90 days, is there any specific audience that you do individual characteristic assessment on number 3?
So we'd start that with the leadership.
Okay.
So that they can find the value in it and understand their strengths and interactions with each other. And then once they find value in that, then they choose who they want in their team to use that. It's best used organically, so that they own it and then they deploy it. I mean, we can go in and do it for their team, but it's not the same effect. Parametric is really about building a relationship based on understanding one's character strengths and guiding it to where they choose to be.
Okay, thank you.
So you'll see here the page numbers. So this is page 3 in the handbook. The detail of this is at page 4 to 6. So it tells you where to look for it in the handbook if you're looking at the slide notes. So the analogy I use for this is sailing, right? I love sailing. It's one of my favorite things to do. Just be adrift at the sea, but have a vision of where you're going, but just let nature take you at the same time. And then your human interaction is to bring us to that journey. For me, it's one of the most blissful experiences. So the team culture engagement survey is the map that plots the course of the journey. That's how we use that tool. It says, okay, here's where we are. Here is all of the terrain that we need to navigate. Here is how we're going to get to where we want to go. The ShareTree app is the vessel that carries the crew on the journey. Yeah, so the app really is holding all the culture together and making it be alive. Yeah, it's carrying the culture along. The Culture Connect reporting that comes out from month to month is our tracking. Yeah, it keeps telling us, are we on track? And what can we do to get to where we need to go? And Parametrics is the tool to pick and develop the crew members that will fit in with the culture of this crew. So this is how we use those tools in a very simple analogy to remember. So where can ShareTree culture impacts be used? Well, it's very holistic. Business is our main focus because there's 2 reasons. One is it will generate revenue for you to do more of your amazing stuff. Number 2, by focusing on business, we actually make the greatest impact for shifting humanity, because corporates have the most say and control and have the biggest opportunity for growth. Remember I said at the start, the weakest muscle is the one that grows most. Corporates have the biggest opportunity for growth in culture. Schools, to create our future leaders. So what we do is empower teachers with the language of character so that they can actually develop the character strengths of students to develop our future leaders. So there's a lot of opportunity in that space as well if you have a passion for education. And schools is not just primary school and kindergarten, it includes university and high school, all the way through the chain. We work at all levels. Community orgs, this is to link the skills of the other sectors to support the initiatives about making change. So we have a strong integrated system that aligns with the UN sustainable goals. So it automatically connects people based on those UN SDGs. And families, so families sit in between this area. They get a lot of value out of it as well. So you can create a group for a family. So it's social purpose ecosystem is what this is all about. The three enablers of ShareTree is character and culture growth. That's the main function. That's the leaf function that you're going to see as part of the app. There is leadership development and mentorship, which is a bud function that comes into effect once you develop further down the app. You can actually give invited feedback to those that have a trusted relationship with. And that's the context that it's built under. I can't just start giving you advice unless, Naz, you first invite me in. And when you invite me in, the app looks to say, okay, now there's a trusted relationship. Now it will be received in a way that will promote growth, which is why we call it a bud. And then the third aspect is community volunteering. So it's to inspire people. This is a soft undercurrent through the whole app, to be clear on what their purpose is, to be clear on where they may have a passion for the UN Sustainable Goals categories. And then it will softly start linking and putting forward to them where they can use their skills to volunteer to accelerate change in the community. So now we're going to go to any questions at all? Just jump in. It's small enough. I'm just expecting you guys to come with your truth and say, hey, what does that mean? Stop. Can we talk about this more? So you both got the app, right?
Yeah.
Naz, you got the app? Yep, beautiful.
Yes.
So users, just so you know, when you're running this for your own groups, they can register quickest using Facebook and LinkedIn. Some people are very particular about security and information, privacy. We only can take from Facebook and LinkedIn the information that they have public. So what it does is it just accelerates the profile creation. If they use LinkedIn, it's a better one because it will take their skills and pre-populate that as well. Facebook will take their image and some other bits and pieces. If they want to be ultra secure, they can use their email. Then we'll have their email address. But what I keep reassuring people is if someone breaks into our fully secured AWS servers, the same place that LinkedIn and Facebook have theirs stored, they will find out what your character strengths are. and all the beautiful things that people have said about them. So there's nothing really to be scared of unless you don't want the world to know how great you are.
I love it.
So what I'd like you guys to do now, I'm going to jump out of this screen and go to this. So there is a app called Screen Stream. If you're on Android, Apple does this automatically where you can cast your phone screen up onto the computer. But if you're on an Android device, then this is a really good app to have Screen Stream. I'll show you what it looks like that. And then it allows you to just send to an IP address. Then you type in that IP address, you see, and then it will come up on the screen. So this is really amazing for online delivery of this program. And we've learned a lot, Michelle. That's why this is quite different now. We're actually getting better results through online delivery than we were in face-to-face because it gets people working through technology.
Yeah.
So what I'd like you to do is search for the ShareTree culture practitioners. So just put in ShareTree.
I am on.
I think you're already in the group, Michelle. That's the group.
Yeah, I'm in the group.
Is it in the app?
Yeah.
Hang on, I'm getting in. I did join the group the other day.
So let's have a look. I'll click on the group. For you, Naz, you're going to click on the group. This button will have a little plus sign on it, which will be to join the group.
Okay. Second.
But when you're in the group, you can see who's in it. So I can go straight here now and see if Michelle is in the group. So these are all the members. These are all the people that have done the program that you're going through at the moment. There's Michelle.
Oh, I haven't got a photo.
No, so when you get a chance, upload a photo in there. It'd be great to see your lovely face. So this also helps you know who else knows what you know.
Yeah.
So you can find them on LinkedIn, you can connect to them.
No.
So if you go here, normally if they're sharing their LinkedIn details.
I think I sent a request to be in that group. It says pending.
Yep. So I'll go back to my home. See, there's a groups. This is the groups icon, which I'm going to give you a navigation shortly. So I can go to the Culture Practitioners group. ShareTree Culture Practitioners. There you go. See, there's a little orange dot next to it. And then up the top right here, you see I've got an orange dot on the notification, the bell. That means there's something pending. And I can see here, you are Naz, you're requesting to join the group. So I'm just going to accept that. And you're welcome to the family.
Thank you.
And I got a photo now.
Oh, awesome. That was quick. Nice one.
That was my priority. I wanted a photo.
So you're in the group.
Yes, I see like this, everybody, I guess, yeah.
So what I'll do now is take you through the functions. So on the top right is the navigation bar. So the very main page that it opens up on is called the acknowledgement feed. So this feed that comes here is all of the activity from everyone that is in your connection or in your forest. So all the groups that you're in and all of the people that you've accepted directly into your forest. So say I want to connect now with you, Naz. Let me just flick back to the other screen. So I can search for you. And you see here on the bottom, there's a add you to my forest. Yeah, the plus friend button. We call it a forest. If I hit that, it's going to send you a request for you and I to be connected. That means I'll be able to see your acknowledgement feed and you can see my acknowledgement feed now. Just my private ones. If I'm in a group culture that you're not part of, they are private. You still can't see into that culture. But you'll be able to see all my private ones. I'm saying I trust you to see the acknowledgements that I receive and that I give you.
Okay. Where do I see that request?
So if you go to your home.
Okay.
There'll be on the bell up here, you'll have a little orange dot.
Is this the home?
No. So just click your screens, you can slide across. Yeah, there's 3 actual screens here.
Oh.
So you're on your profile page. If you scroll across, you'll get to the feed. But if you hit the home button, it's always going to take you back to the feed.
Okay.
Now you'll have a little on your notifications bell. There should be an orange dot, right?
Yes, I saw it. Yes.
Yep. So if you click on that, and then click, if the task is pending, it's going to have an orange ring around it, meaning it needs action.
Yes, I accept it.
Beautiful. So I'll get a push notification, but I've got my notifications off just so that people don't ring me while we're doing the workshop. All right, so back to the other aspects. So the navigation bar, which is this top bar, the home button, this one is always going to take you home. The menu bar here has got a whole list of different things within it. I'll show you what's in the menu bar. So in the menu bar, you've got all of the functions plus functions that are not in some of the other menus. Now, the main one that you want to be familiar with to use often is this chat support here. And then there's tutorials about how to use the app if you want to learn more, what's new in the releases so you can see what's going on. To share the app, you can share the app with others through here, but you can also share the app through the groups function, a link to the website, and if you want to give feedback. So these are the extra things that are in there. Don't worry about the menu bar too much. I say to people, when you can't find what you want in the normal function, last place to look is the menu bar. Now, anywhere where you go along, if you see this I buttons, wherever you see the I buttons is going to give you information about the page and the function. And we're in the process of recording videos for every aspect. Yeah, so you can always learn about a function within the pages itself. It's one of the challenges of ShareTree. It does so many things. We've got to try and make it really simple for people. So that's the home button, the menu bar. Right here in the middle is all the character cards. This is a feature actually designed by the culture practitioners themselves. They said the main thing we want to use is character cards. So, and you can select and acknowledge through those cards as well. So if you tap on that, it'll open up as a preview the 12 groups. The new version coming out in a couple of weeks is going to have listed all the character traits in each group on that view. You can turn it on and off as well. Within a group, you'll have character traits that are very similar in energy. So if I go into the courage group, assertiveness, bravery, commitment, confidence, you can see there's a like energy to all of those traits. Now, if I want to get them by alphabetical order, I just hit the search button. You know, now I've got all of them in alphabetical order. So, and you can search by name as well. So I want something on resilience, bang, it pops up, you open the card. Then within the card, it'll give you all of the information. We'll cover that more in detail shortly. Now from here, I can share the card. So I can actually do LinkedIn posts, Facebook posts, email using this card, or I can acknowledge someone using that card as well. So you have all.
Sorry, I'll be right back. Sorry.
No worries. So that's the function of using the card. So this is not an acknowledgement. This is just using the card itself for whatever you want to do with it. Now you'll see there's
awesome. I didn't know we were able to just share it, so I just click on it.
Yeah, so if I want to share that on a Facebook post, so let me go to a LinkedIn post, for instance. There you go. The card is now in the post.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, guys.
No probs. So if I click this button up here, see this button? It's like shows different cards. That's a random pick.
Yeah.
So
I like the idea of the random pick, actually.
Yeah.
Because it gives you, you know, that opportunity just to be surprised and take on something that you weren't necessarily prepared for. Yeah. You know, that you might just give you that something for that day.
Some days I go to acknowledge someone and I was like, I'll leave it to the call of the universe. Yeah. Whether you believe in that or not, the clairvoyance and all that, they love that aspect of it. If you shake the phone, it does it as well. So they do what's called a 3-card split. So where have you come from? Where are you now? What do you need to embrace going forward? Yeah, and they set an intention and then they pick 3 cards and they use it that way. Yeah. So there's lots of different ways you can use it. I use them for conflict management. I use them for coaching. It's endless. It's absolutely endless.
It is, isn't it? That's what I love about it too. There's always something that you can use it for that you didn't expect.
Exactly. And I've been using them now for about 7 years in total, and I'm still finding new ways to use them all the time. So
this is awesome. Now I'm just doing this so they can actually acknowledge someone, send acknowledgement.
You can acknowledge
by
through
the character quality. So it's my first time doing it. And then inside ShareTree, you can do outside ShareTree.
Correct.
Where does it go when you say outside ShareTree?
We're getting to that one. So the search button's there to search all things. So within search, you've got profile searches, which will search group profiles and individual profiles. When the profiles come up, it will tell you whether they're an individual. If they're a group, it'll tell you the type of group. And it has the share standards here. So the share standards tell you their engagement, their education, and their empowerment metrics. And we'll get to that shortly as well. You can search for volunteering opportunities as well. It's a feature that we're building out in 2021. It's their provision, but there'll be a real focus in 2021 to engage all the charities so that they can put up all the volunteering requests and bring people's skills together.
Oh, that's awesome.
And then there's advanced searches. So then you can search, you know, really by specific organization types, by specific skills, by certifications and clearances. So if you want to find people with working with children check, for instance, and you search for that, it'll bring up profiles with working with children's check. I didn't type it in fully. but that function is there. So this is useful, particularly in aged care. You know, if you need people with police clearances, that's one of the criteria.
Yeah.
You can see whether your volunteers have the right clearances already. Then it's up to the organisation to validate them at the end, obviously. So that's the navigation bar. Notifications is pretty clear, right? Whenever there's an orange dot there, there's things to action, which is this last one. Now the next part, number 2, which is here, that's your forest. If you open that, it tells you all the people. So Naz, you'll be in my forest now, and I'll be in your forest. Yeah, they're the friends that you've accepted to trust, to look at the conversations that you're having within your network. Now, again, I'll reiterate, if you're in a group that they're not part of, they will not be able to see those conversations. Only the character strength that's been acknowledged. So it protects the privacy of a company.
Yeah.
Groups. So groups is here. If you tap on that, it shows you all the groups that you're part of. But in the menu bar, I'll just switch back to the view. In the menu bar, you can slide this across and it shows your top 5 favorite groups. So you can put in this menu bar whatever your top 5 is. You'll have just 2 at the moment, the global tree, which is where you can do public posts, and you'll have culture practitioners. But if I open mine, for instance, you can see, because I seed and coach a lot of groups, I'm part of a lot of different groups in the community. So we'll get to more on groups in day 2. Global tree. So the global tree is where the public posts are to inspire people all around the world, and they'll come into your feed. So one of the feedbacks we had from users last year, Michelle, in fact, was, I love everything about ShareTree. I join it and I'm on my own. I want a community around me, and it's a lot of effort to build my community and teach them.
Yeah.
So now the global tree helps you connect to people straight away. So do public posts when the information's not private or it's not needed for a culture tree, because it inspires others.
Yeah.
So my journal, I put into the culture global tree. Now the main function is this send a leaf function. So this is the question you were asking before, Naz. Let me take you through sending a leaf. So you'll find it's on every page in the same spot. But if you go into a group, not that group, because that's a global tree group. If you go into a group, here's the ShareTree culture. That changes into a culture post. Yeah, there's a different function to it. Now, you only have that coming up if you're an admin of a group, which means you can do posts into the culture. Very powerful, Michelle, for the organizations you work in, that you can tell them about events and news and different things. We'll get to that on day 2. We'll talk more about groups. So the main function as an individual is to send leaves, yeah? To acknowledge the character strengths of others. Now there's 4 ways you can do that. Acknowledge someone on ShareTree, acknowledge someone outside of ShareTree. You could gratitude journal to yourself, private, or you could public global tree acknowledge, either journaling publicly or acknowledging someone publicly. So let me go through them with you. Let me acknowledge you, Naz. You're on the platform. So I can find you here. Alternatively, I can look for you in a group. Yeah. So if I go to the group, culture practitioners, and I go through the group members here, I can find you through the group is the other way that I could acknowledge you. So JKLMN, Naz, then I hit the leaf here and it does the same function, right? It takes me to the same spot. The next thing, now I don't need to pick the group. When I go through the group, it knows which group I'm acknowledging you through. So now I need to pick the character trait. So what I love most about you is your volition of purpose. Just one of the most purposeful people I've ever met in my life, which is very inspiring because there's not many of them out there. So I wanted to thank you for your clarity of purpose and the courage to live it. Looking forward to growing impact. Impact together. So the important part about speaking the language of character is to call out the character trait you see. So purpose, or because I've read the card so many times, I know what's in that card. I actually know a lot of the words in that card as well. So initially when you're learning them, it's to pick them out, read them and see whether it suits with what you're seeing in the person. So that becomes a subconscious learning for the sender, the receiver, but also the observers. All the observers start, oh, why did they call that out? What does that mean? And you can click on it and read the cards. The next part is to call out how you've seen it in action. And the last part is how has it made you feel? Yeah. So I'm talking about it's actually something I'm inspired about and I'm looking forward to growing. Yeah. Or it's excited me. So that's how you do an acknowledgement. You can review it here. Something I need to do very often because I do lots of typing mistakes. And then the last part is send. Now I can return to the message. So say I'm acknowledging a team for an event. I can return to the message, pick another person or another character trait and acknowledge someone else again. But I stress, make sure you're authentic in your message. Some organizations use the same message 8 times over, send them all at the same time, and it diminishes its authenticity. It's not to say it's not real, but if you've said the same thing to me and 10 other people, it's like, okay, yeah, it's not very unique to me.
Yeah, I love to individualize my messages to people when I'm giving feedback, and it's so much more meaningful when you really make it about that person and the impact they've had on you. And it's the same here, obviously. You want to get it right because people can read through it if you're not. It's not real.
It's got to be authentic. If it's not authentic, you best not acknowledge. Go and journal.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's why the journal's there. If you don't feel something authentically, don't acknowledge. Journal it first. Build what we call the character capacity. And then when you have that capacity, you'll see it will start flowing out into others anyway.
Yeah.
But, some people said, oh, but I want to reach the whole team. I was like, yeah, sure. Say you did a project with 10 people, do 2 on day 1, do 2 on day 2, do 2 on day 3. Mm-hmm. Just let it flow. And it's better for you instead of doing 10.
Well, you're going to write something more meaningful, aren't you, when you take your time? If you just shoot 10 out, numbers 5 to 10 will be pretty crap.
Exactly.
So Stephen, everybody that I see here, so they choose to be public, right, when they were doing it? Or is it just like everybody can see it?
On the global tree, this is your feed or the culture practitioner feed. So you're now part of culture practitioners. So you'll see all the feed from me, from you, and from the culture practitioners because you're now in those groups.
That's what I see, probably all of those. Okay.
Yeah. So if you join ShareTree now, our team, you'll start seeing the feeds from our team. And you'll see my feed's very full because I'm in lots of teams. So this is not the normal way, but because I'm a master culture coach, I'm there seeding a lot of others. Ordinarily, I would clean this up, and I do over time. Once the teams are established, then I back out of them, and then I focus authentically on my own connection and network.
Okay. Yeah, I'm in the ShareTree Culture Practitioners. That's what I see it.
Yeah, and you'll see Global Tree. You'll see my acknowledgements as well. Anything I receive personally is going to show up on your tree as well because we're connected.
Global Tree. Yeah, I see these like a journal entry. Yeah. And those are some people, and then I see the leaves.
So anything that's a global tree entry, you'll see the picture of the earth behind it. Have a look here. So you'll see, there's a lot in mine. There's 2. See those 2? They're global tree entries. So someone's journaled publicly, which I encourage.
Publicly.
And it inspires others. So next release coming out in 2 weeks, there'll be an inspired button there. So you'll see who you're impacting with sharing your words.
This is really amazing.
It is amazing, isn't it? I love the gratitude journal part of it because, funnily enough, I'm doing some other training at the moment called Women in Transition. So I've been through divorce, and it's about women who really get stuck after that kind of, you know, loss, and you can be stuck forever unless you actually go and do something and get some coaching to move you out of that and
Absolutely.
start being grateful. And it's all about gratitude. It's all about, it's a 9-week program, and part of it is you write in your gratitude journal every day. What
Yeah.
am I grateful for? I'm focusing on this loss, and I'm focusing on turning everything into that person's fault, when actually I've got to own my part here. And you've got to turn your thinking, and it's just, it opens up your world, right? And just that component, now that there's gratitude on this.
Yeah, the journaling. It's new. That wasn't there when you were there.
Oh, it's amazing, because you can use the cards to be part of that journey.
Exactly. It goes deeper. Instead of just saying, I'm
Yeah.
grateful that, you know, I've got a house. I'm grateful for, you know, the security and for the, you know, the self-discipline or whatever it might be. The
Yeah, that's right.
determination. It
Yeah.
goes deeper.
Yeah, that's right. And it's about being grateful for what you've, and acknowledging what you've achieved. When we try and look at the negatives of ourselves, let's look at what's great about us, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Hence the tree at the start. This is what it's about. So if you want to acknowledge outside of ShareTree, they are the people that are not on the platform. So this is why the name is first. So say I want to acknowledge someone. Say I want to acknowledge Michelle, right? And I don't know that, I can't find Michelle on the app. I was like, oh yeah, you are here, but imagine you're not on the app. I was like, all right, Michelle's not on the app. I'm going to acknowledge her now outside of ShareTree. So it's really powerful with suppliers, with customers, with people new in your network. Like I use this outside feature more than the inside feature. And some of the responses I get from people are remarkable. Some people, I send them an outside leaf, and then, you know, 15 minutes later, I receive a leaf inside of ShareTree. They've downloaded it, been moved by it, and then send me a leaf. So this helps spread ShareTree as well, which is all about, you know, expanding the goodness and character around the world. So same process, I'll pick a character quality. So I'm going to pick one for Michelle for her caring, because I know the way she deals with people. It's beyond the capacity that most people give to other people. I think there's a deep empathy is another one that comes to mind for me. Michelle, I wanted to acknowledge the depth of care you give to those in your life.
Thank you.
It's a rare gift that is often undervalued. Though it inspires me.
Oh, he's very good at this, Naz.
Yeah, definitely. I'm going to keep reading my message. This is my first message, luckily from ShareTree.
So being authentic is important. So if they're just demos for me, if I'm going to write them, I like to write them for real. I'm a bit passionate about what I'm doing, obviously. So if they're just demos, I'll write test for delete. I actually ask people to delete them because I don't want them on the system if they're not real.
Yeah.
So continue. Now what it's going to do is open any device application that I have installed on my device. Anything, email, SMS, Facebook, LinkedIn, WhatsApp, it doesn't matter. Whatever you've got on your phone, what it's doing is it's copying that text in. It's a unique design by ShareTree, and it allows you to paste it on another platform. Now, if you want to do a post, you can post that up as well, but this is personal to Michelle. So I'm going to send this to Michelle via LinkedIn, through a personal message, because I know Michelle's there. If she's not there, then I could send it by email. Michelle Taylor, there you are. So see, it's adding the text that I wrote. It's putting a link to the character card. And it's also inviting Michelle to join ShareTree. Off it goes. So that's now on Michelle's LinkedIn page.
And there it is.
So you have a very strong database team.
It's amazing.
This is amazing work on the app, to be honest. Like not just the building the idea or the whole like framework skeleton, but It's
Appomate are our
quite
technology partners. Yeah. So they're
amazing.
really, they're behind this. They believe in it. They use it across their whole team as well, which is where you can see this notifications here. Have a look at this. This is the quality of who you pick to bring in your life determines the quality of your outcome. So these people that are building an app use our app. Look at it.
That's so important.
And it empowers their team because look, 1,000 acknowledgements they've done within their own team. 963, 170 in the last 3 months.
And think about what you said earlier, Steve, and you touched on, Naz, was around, which I've written down, the heart of the organisation versus the head of the organisation. You imagine you're trying to roll something like this out with a leader that just doesn't value it. You just don't get that kind of response. Yet if your leader's part of it and they're leading the acknowledgements and then they're encouraging others and people are feeling valued, that's where you get those outcomes, you know, because people are just so invested and it makes people feel great because people are doing it with real, you know, it's what was the word? It's authentic, you know, it's wonderful.
It becomes a new norm because we've got people working in our team. And like my mentor, when they get to a place where we can't support further growth at the pace that they deserve to grow, I encourage them to leave, do new things. And one of our team members, she left to another team. After 3 months, she rang me back up. She goes, I can't work in another team anymore. Like the culture is just toxic.
Yeah.
But that's the norm. Like wherever I go, that's become the norm.
And I mean, that's the sad part though, isn't it, Steve, that there is a lot of organisations where the culture is that way.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be that way. Not all, of course, but you know, you know, my last employer last year, you remember those people?
Yeah.
You know, that was just so detrimental to people's health.
Yeah. I just said to her, she wanted to come back. She goes, is there any other jobs that I can do? She goes, I'll do anything. I don't care. I just want to come back to the culture. I said, no, you are a leader. You're empowered with this knowledge. You're seeing now a pattern of a void. So have the courage to actually step up and create the culture around you and see what happens. If they reject you and push you out, we'll take you back. But have the courage first to lead, to create the culture that you know is of value and share it with others. She did. Now it's spread through her company as well. So,
oh, wow.
So it definitely, people find the value in it because it's intrinsic to human, you know, core at the essence of where we are.
Mm-hmm.
You can't send this to someone unless they're a narcissist and for them to find no value in it. They can't be authentic to themselves if they're not finding value in it.
Exactly.
Can I be political and say, and don't send it to Donald Trump?
No, I would definitely work with Donald Trump. He's in a position of influence and he's a strong leader, and I'm confident I would help bring out the qualities in him too.
All
I
right,
think
let's get you on that pretty quickly.
Everyone has qualities.
Yeah, I believe in that.
True.
So the third way is to gratitude journal, right? So it's the same process again. You pick the character card and you write something in reflection to yourself.
I love it.
Now the journals, if you go onto the tree page, you can swipe the pages across. Yeah, there's three pages. You can see the button at the top. So on the tree page, I can get into the journal and see all my journal entries. And I go very deep with my journal entries. These are the ones I don't want to share with others, but I don't mind at the same time for people to read them. Nothing to hide.
So you can keep it to yourself, but you can also just make it public.
That's the fourth one. So I could now global
tree. I love
global
that.
tree. So now I can journal and put it on the public tree. Let others get the inspiration from what I'm feeling. So
yeah, sometimes you want to write it first, don't you? And then see how it comes. And then you go, yeah, I can share this.
Exactly. So when I come out of meditations, often I get these deep connections and I write a journal. And if they're deep and meaningful, I always start with the public tree. And if it's very private, I copy the text. I go back to the private journal and put it in there. But if it's something that I think others will find value, then I publicize it, put it out there. Or I could acknowledge someone as well. So I could acknowledge, I'll do Naz now on the public tree for commitment to learning culture practitioner.
You're famous now, Naz.
I know. I'm just
You're on the
gonna.
global tree.
I'm gonna make everybody to be committed to ShareTree.
Mm.
Okay.
No, because when you try something that you believe in it, and people they found it more uh, not just authentic, but they listen more carefully. Just like like if you're authentic to them, they listen to you more
Yes.
carefully as well.
Aligning.
People often pick up on your passion for something too, don't they? When you're
Yeah.
telling them about something new and amazing that you've discovered, if they see the passion in you, they think, well, I wouldn't mind feeling that way. I might look into this.
So that exactly how it works with me, Michelle. Like my energy is contagious,
Yeah.
and I think that's kind of comes with the passion and purpose. That
Yeah.
it kind of brings the like authenticity.
Yeah.
I tried this authenticity in the corporate world, um, but again, it just has to click with the leadership team and then the culture. And otherwise, you're just like a one-man show or
Isn't it
just
interesting
yourself.
though? You can click with some people, and then there's others that just don't. I think some people. I'm just thinking back to a corporate experience I had, and my initial team in the infrastructure department I worked for loved my vibe and loved what I delivered, and that I was me and I suited that business unit. But my HR GM felt a little bit threatened because I was a little bit different, and people seemed to like me and vibe in, and she was new to the position, and she found it quite threatening that she wanted the global, perfectly dressed, smart talking people, but me, who was more down to earth, out on the site in my steel cap boots talking to people, didn't fit her mold. And
Yeah.
I was then pushed this way.
Yeah,
And it made me
I
lose
hear
my
you.
sense of self. And then I realized later, hang on, that's
Yes.
just one person's opinion, and I'm not going to change for that. Maybe I don't fit into that organization because of that person. But it doesn't mean I haven't got a gift elsewhere.
That's
Absolutely.
exactly why I want to help the youth, like young generation. I just want to just have a big impact, uh, and just guide them and mentor them and coach them.
Yeah.
I hear you 100%. I'm also taking mindset life coaching while I'm trying to coach my son, with his remote school. It's amazing how you can change your perspective and see yourself that what others people
Yeah.
I
think.
think,
So
yeah, I agree. And with the young people side of it, Naz, I think when you are a parent, I've raised three kids who are now into their 20s, and all three are off living their lives. My son moved to London 2 days ago, and, it's a big
Well,
loss. He's gone for 4 years, but, he's on this journey, and, he's gone over there to his client is Manchester United Football Club. That's who he's working with.
wow,
His
that's
dream has
amazing.
oh
come true. He's a sports engineer analyst, and that's his major client. And you send them off, and you've done your part as a parent, and you've raised them up, and you've got them to have strength and courage, and just he was set on that career, and he did it. But then I feel a gap because there's this youth there. So when I have young people in my classes or that I get to liaise with, there's that passion because I feel like I've done my three, but I've got more to give. And I think that whole life experience of the parenting, the coaching, the dealing with leaders and managers and the HR, it's such a unique amount of skill and that we've been able to take on that you want to give it back.
Yeah. And we're
yeah,
one big family at the end of the day. Like, I mean, your child might be of your DNA, but if you believe in the spiritual side of things, who's to say what spirit has arrived? Yeah, like the spirit that's in you could have quite easily landed in the spirit of my own DNA and my own child. So we're all connected. And
Agree.
if you look at the world in a different way, and another view on it is we are all one. Like, who's not to say that you're not me at a different stage of evolution? Like, there's many ways you could look at it,
Yeah.
but what's true is that we're actually all connected. We're not apart.
Yeah.
yeah. Well, I think you should come and give a speech in the U.S. somewhere, Stephen. I think that everybody needs to hear that in where I live, from many perspectives. But yeah, I agree.
So that's the send a leaf functions. You guys comfortable with all of that?
Yeah, fabulous.
Yeah,
It's good conversation. So yeah, sending the leaves
very
can
good.
help many ways. The main components are the internal to ShareTree, external to ShareTree, journaling, and global tree. If you send them internal, what's happening is it's going on the individual's tree. And if you've done it as part of a group, it goes on the group tree. But you are the keeper of your character. If you reject the leaf, it never goes to the public tree. So it's always secure. So we've never had an incident for that. Like, why would someone be stupid to do that? But who knows? We always design it on the side of safety, because we're designing everything for primary school kids. We are always on the side of extreme safety. Journaling, which is the other option, or external leaf, and lastly, global. So there's lots of different ones. I've got to fix the sequence of that. There's a video there if you want to watch this all again.
Yeah, I'm going to do a bit more research into how to use it really well.
Yeah.
So I'm not stumbling through it all the time. Put the effort in. It's like learning how to use any of these platforms like WebEx or Zoom or whatever it is, Google Meet, whatever.
Exactly. You've got to be proficient at it. It's like driving a car. Like, if you don't know how to use the levers, you don't get the best out of the vehicle.
Exactly.
So I have some journals that I write myself, so I can definitely come and just share with the global, right? Like,
yeah.
Are you a journaler, Naz?
Well,
you write in the journal?
Recently, I'm like, Stephen, I'm a very visual person. So if you see how I take notes, nobody would understand because I have many ideas. So I definitely have someone. It was a C character, like from a disk. So they're more process driven. So they just put all my ideas all together with me. And then this is how my brain works. And I try to do it like in a more journal since I started my website, just to kind of push myself into the words to express myself, because I love poetry and I write poems. Yeah. But I can only write poems in Turkish, but I can read in 3 different languages. So.
Wow. You're an interesting character. I was cleaning out my cupboard last week, and I'm a journalist since I was 15 years old. And I added a few more, but I've got a pile of journals. And that's only like since I've lived in this house, 4 years. And I just keep throwing them up the top. I don't always read them back, but you get it out.
Yeah.
And all your thoughts and make plans and have goals and, that's for me, writing.
It's a form of meditation, it's contemplation. So
I think so too. Even if my grammar is not correct, like my first time I started writing, I started with English, I switched Turkish and then French. So nobody would understand except my thoughts that had to go on a piece of paper the first time that I actually journal. So it was this is the beginning, Michelle, that I'm actually like learning my character as well in a more like a deep diving,
it's amazing. My purpose. It sounds like you love it already.
I love it.
So a bit more about the navigation. What you'll see here on the top left is the all of time count for all the leaves you've received. Now, if you're looking into a group, it'll be their group, obviously. What's in the brackets is the last 90 days, the last 3 months. Why do you think we might do that? What do you think we've got to...
because of that exercise, the growth exercise.
Yeah, so 90 days shows you your
activity.
So the leaves will fall off the tree in 90 days. So it's a visual indicator that your character growth is in action. When I went around Australia last couple of years ago for 3 months, I was just with my family and we were in close proximity. So I wasn't doing a lot of acknowledgement, but a few. My tree almost dried up completely. And then when I got back to my team culture, just within a month, it went back to life. So it really does show you what's going on in your life and your interactions with others.
Amazing.
So that when the leaf falls off, it never disappears. It stays in the roots and grain of your character permanently. So that sum there will add up to this. Yeah, but what you can do now is you can look at a particular branch and you can see where your growth is in the last 3 months. So let me show you myself as an example here. So here's my tree. I think it's my tree. Yeah, it is my tree. So if I touch the heart of the tree, that's how I turn the branches on. So that shows you your count on any branch. So which branch has the greatest growth in the last 3 months for me? Which branches?
Wisdom.
Wisdom, yeah, number 1. And what's number 2?
Compassion.
Compassion. So what you can do on your own profile or other people's profile or group profiles is look down and see whether that was historically the largest. So yeah, wisdom has always been a strength of mine. Compassion, a strong area, but not the strongest. So there's been a big growth in compassion. And again, if you look, I've been doing a lot of work, community supporting people that have fallen through the cracks, getting food packs out to those people during the lockdown. So a lot of people are seeing this character strength in me. So organically it's growing. I didn't ask anyone to acknowledge me, that, promise you, but it's organically just coming.
And this grows by acknowledgement, right? This number goes up by the acknowledgement.
Received.
But it's organic because when you look at the numbers at the first time that when you did it, you see your growth area. And when you do it organically, when people acknowledge you, you see that the growth has actually happened. And
yeah,
most of the time it's within the 90 days.
Now, you know, a number of months back, I wanted to grow in respect. Yeah, it was a conscious effort. So what I did is I went to my team and I went through ShareTree and I said, okay, who's the strongest on respect? So what we'll be adding, it's not there yet, but you'll be able to tap on a branch and it will tell you the culture leader of a branch.
Ah.
So you know who to model on. So what I did was I actually went through manually. I went through the team this way and I went through every profile and I found this guy, Kevin. So I had a look at Kevin's profile and his was by far one of the strongest in the respect branch. I was like, oh, what does Kevin do? So I clicked on his branch and I looked at all of his acknowledgements and then I went and had a coffee with him. I said, what do you think and feel? Because I noticed you talk to people different the way that I talk to people. So I learned and modeled off him. So we've built that in. That's all in culture monthly reporting, which we'll learn about in session 2. So this now creates organic mentorship between people, not based on role, based on character, you know, which is super powerful.
That is so important, isn't it? Based on role, not on who you are as a leader, because everyone's so unique.
Yeah. I mean, I can get the strengths of self-discipline from the cleaner. Yeah, there'll be no one more self-disciplined than the person that comes to clean this office.
Yeah.
They do it with precision. So the opportunity to be your mentor is everywhere. It's not hierarchical at all. If I want to be in leadership, well, that's one particular character trait, but there's many aspects and facets to life. So that's where you'll find with the branches. So if you tap on any branch, it gives you the feed on all of the character traits you've received for that branch. So there's a layer below this surface when you look at them. Now there's a few other things here. The heart of the tree we've just discussed. There's an evolution cycle. So there's gamification built into the app. So if you touch next to the journal here, this is called your evolution cycle. So we've built into this a gamification to help you grow your own character. So the first stage is a seed. You'll be beyond the seed now. You'll be at a seedling stage, which means you've sent and received one leaf. Once you complete that, it empowers you then to create a group. So we want to make sure that you actually know how to send and receive a leaf before you create a group. Then it goes on to the next stage where you'll send quite a few leaves now and receive a few, and you've got people in your network. Now it will start showing your character strengths. So there's enough acknowledgement points for us to start showing up your character strengths. So if you look at my tree, you probably won't have it on yours yet, but it will come very soon. You'll see wisdom, compassion, and love are my strengths at the moment. They're my strength branches. See that on the bottom? So you can see this looking into any person.
Yes.
So say I go and look for Hettel's too early. Let me go to go back to Kevin, because Kevin doesn't mind me using him as a reference. I go to Kevin's profile. Here's Kevin's strengths: compassion, courage, self-discipline. Now, at a glance now, like people use DISC and Myers-Briggs and all these tools, you actually don't need this anymore. If you want to assess someone's character strengths, you can go straight away and have a look at their strengths and say, oh yeah, I want someone with self-discipline. Who in the team is the best to bring into this part? And then you adopt that person into the team. So there's a lot of power in the data, and it's all organic. This is not them answering a questionnaire. This is other people seeing this in them.
What do you use, Steve, when you bring new team members in to ascertain their fit?
Karometrics, which is day 3. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
If they have a ShareTree profile already, then it's very powerful.
Yeah.
Then we don't even need to do karometrics. We still do, because there's deeper discussion and insight, and one's inner strengths sometimes are not exactly the same as what people have seen them do in their role. But the tree is pretty powerful. It tells you a lot. So the next thing across, so that evolution cycle goes all the way up to mature tree. Yeah. We don't know what we're going to unlock here yet. We're thinking of ideas. So if you guys come up with ideas as culture practitioners, you're part of this development. Tell us what you need, what you think will work. We're not going to guarantee we'll implement everything, but a lot of these ideas have actually come from our network. So the next part here is the ShareTree standards. Now, the Share standards are about promoting character, culture, and community. So the greatest passion of ShareTree is to close the income inequity gap that's on the planet, to make sure people earn a fair amount, not the same amount. We're not about equal, because some people work harder, some have worked longer, some have inherited things, but about fairness, so that there's enough. So the current disparity on the globe is 176 to 1 in terms of wage income. And our objective is to bring that back to 30 to 1. And it was there at some stage. If you look at a tribe, you wouldn't take, the vast majority of your income, if you had a tribe of 100 people, and give it to one person. That's what's happening at the moment on the planet. We're one big family, one big tribe, but the vast majority of the income is going to a handful of people, 0.5% of the population, where the next 5% of the population gets about 20% of the income, and then the rest of the population gets less than 50% of the income. It's a bit crazy.
It's just mind-blowing.
So educate is about, there's a little video there, you watch the video, there's a questionnaire, you know how to use this app. Yeah. Then it says, yep, the E will go green, that you've educated yourself about ShareTree, about character, culture, and community. Engage is about doing a volunteering activity or planting the seeds of change for others, which is why you get a fruit. So if you watch the video, it's going to explain about that. It hasn't got a unique video in there yet, but they're coming. If you volunteer and you complete the volunteering activity, it will give you a fruit. Or if you refer someone to ShareTree, you empower someone else to start the journey, it will give you a fruit. And the third part is about empower, means that you're part of a group that's already transforming culture based on character. So you guys will already have the third E already set in your profile. If I have a look at Michelle, Naz, there you are, Naz. I can see your, oh no, hasn't yet. Yeah, oh yeah, because you have to complete educate. Once you complete educate first, it will clear.
I see.
Yeah, clear the ring.
Yeah,
and turn it on. So that's the empowerment. Educate. Now for a company, it's slightly different. We'll go into it in greater detail later on, but in a very quick overview, an organization has the same. So you can see it's slightly different meaning. So more than 50% of our organization has to be educated on ShareTree for that to go green. And we've just taken on 6 new volunteers. So we are down at the moment on that metric. The next one is about engage, that 5% or greater of your profits go to community benefit. So we are 100% because we're a charity organisation. And then the third empowerment of income ratio. So within 30:1 ratio, it's self-reported. If you're within that ratio, it will go green. So the last part is then to certify and validate those figures. So we've got third-party partners that we're looking at doing that from an accounting perspective. So there's big picture strategies that we've got running here as well. Any questions at all? We are basically done with the app. So the last page is your profile page, which has some of the same buttons on it. So you'll find the leaf everywhere, but your purpose statement, we're all about purpose. So we've got an algorithm to match people with volunteering based on your purpose words and your global initiatives. Vision statement. So good to see about who you are. So you can use this as a coaching platform now to coach people as well, especially with what you're doing, Naz, with your workshops. But the same for yourself, Michelle. Get them journaling, get them clear on their purpose, their vision, start talking about their character strengths. Like, it's a full coaching platform. Global initiatives focus. So what are you passionate about for volunteering? So this, you can fill this in over time as you go along. And then if you want to go back and edit your profile, contact me information, see who's in your forest and your privacy settings, they're all down here on the bottom.
And how did you type those, like, to empower purposeful entrepreneurs right below your name, purpose statement, privacy setting?
Yeah, go into settings, edit your profile. So if I go into, it's gonna, when you first set up the app, it just collects the basic details, but then you can go in and add more things as you go. So there's your purpose can go in here, your vision, your global initiatives.
My forest and volunteer engagement and job details. Another role. Okay.
There you go. So mine pulled up my LinkedIn details, so I'm just updating this. Good.
Okay, perfect.
Any other questions before we move on?
No, it's awesome. It's just amazing, really.
How are we going with energy, you guys? Still high? Do we need a break? Good to keep going?
I wouldn't mind just 5-minute bathroom break, if that's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's do 5-minute break. We'll come
awesome.
Back. We'll see you 11 o'clock my time, which will be
9 o'clock my time.
You are at your time.
Okay. I won't be a minute. Thanks, bye.
Okay. Okay.
All right, we're recording again, so just getting back into it. Thanks, guys, for sharing your personal stories and character strengths. It's always inspiring to see. That's what we do in our meditation circles the whole time, basically, is we go through character connection, and we look at people's lives, and just a safe space to just people to really go deep. And we just use character cards every session, then we meditate, and the most amazing things come out of those sessions. So
that's very interesting.
Going back to sharing my screen. Share screen. Okay. So as you've experienced, speaking the language of character is more than just a thank you, right? This is really what's at the heart of the technology. Our partners, the Virtues Project, have full programs about, virtues. What we've done is designed it into the application so that it's self-teaching. Yeah, it's not an instructional mode, it's an experiential mode of learning. So the 3 key elements that are in there that people learn over time is really the opening statement. Thank you, I'm really inspired by, I want to acknowledge. Like, there's a million ways to do it. It doesn't even have to be in this order, but these are the 3 components: calling out the character strength you see in them, or guiding an area for growth if it's in buds, That's the function when you're invited to do so. And then evidence of how it was demonstrated. That's an important part. And then to make it deeper authenticity, tell them how it made you feel. Yeah, that doesn't apply 100% of the time. That's why we didn't put it here, but it does give it more depth again. So we've acknowledged each other just now by going through that exercise, but you do that over the app essentially. So after this exercise, you're going to start the 30-day character growth exercise. You'll be putting it into practice. So